my bad. My bad? That is not an apology adequate enough for everything that transpired between you and Issa Crenshaw. And so to me, I was just like, yo, throw him back to the streets, okay? Throw him back, throw him back, throw him back. Hey YouTube world, welcome back to my channel. If this is your very first time visiting my channel, the warmest welcome to you. If you're returning, the most heartfelt thank you for your support of my channel. On this channel, I talk about lifestyle, I talk about self-improvement, and I talk about mental health issues. And quite recently, I have been doing a review on HBO's Insecure Season 5. And today's video is going to focus on the latest episode, which was episode 8, Choices, okay? This episode, I'm not going to do a recap on this episode, okay? This is going to be a true review. So if you haven't seen the episode, please do so. And there are going to be some spoilers in this episode. So if you don't want to hear about the spoilers, then you probably should tune back in after you've watched the episode. So let's get into it. What are my thoughts on the episode? I kind of thought this episode was dry, okay? I thought it was dry. I thought it was just a drag a little bit. Like, we focused so much on Issa's daydreams. As much as I love Issa's daydreams, this was just like a prolonged daydream, because we went from Issa daydreaming about what her life would be like if she accepted the offer from MBW to what the life would be like if she went with Crenshaw. And to me, it was just like, God, really? Like, are we really, like, come on. Like, it was just way too long. We didn't have to drag it that long. I think this was just a filler episode, just holding our attention until, you know, the real, like, will she, won't she, like, does she choose Nathan, does she choose Lawrence, who does she end up with, who, like, basically until D-Day. They're just trying to hold our attention until D-Day. That's just what I thought. And so I thought it was a bit of a drag. I had to watch it a few times to really kind of grasp what I needed to grasp, because the first time I watched it, I was just like, I can't get my time back. Like, I just wasted my time watching this show. Like, what was I supposed to get from this? I was low-key pissed, okay? Low-key disappointed, all right? So, yeah. But watching it a second and third time, I really did get some different perspective that I want to share with you guys. So that's just my thought on it. So now, Issa's daydreams, right? So Issa has 2 daydreams, one with the company MBW, and with that, they gave her an offer letter after she had her community event that they just came to. So they gave her an offer letter, and it was coins on coins on coins, okay? And let me tell y'all how much I loved that scene with herself in the mirror. Like, that rap, yo, that was so dope. When Mirror Issa was like, rap is whack, but the bank account busted, I was like, yes, that's dope. And then when she said, I like you, like, that just warmed my heart so much, because I don't know how many times I may be editing a video to post on here, and I hear myself, and it's like, I'm like, yeah, girl, like, I love you, because I get me. Like, I get me. Like, I get my quirkiness, and I could be, like, over the top with, like, certain emotions, but, like, I get me, and I love me. And so there are times where literally I'll be looking at myself like, and I'll be like, yo, girl, I love you. Like, because when you're kind of quirky, like, a lot of times you filter yourself when you go out in the public, just because you may say something that's awkward, that just doesn't seem to fit with the conversation, or doesn't seem to fit with social norms, or like your mannerisms, or the way you behave, or whatever. Like, it may not fit, so you're usually censoring yourself. So when you see yourself in full action and in your full glory, many times you just like, they don't get you, but you know I get you. Like, I love you. So anyway, I got that scene. That was, to be honest, that was my favorite scene. When she said, I like you, and laughed. I rewinded so many times. I did. I loved it. Okay, so let's go back to daydreaming. So Issa daydreamed after she read that offer her daydream started with what her life would be like if she accepted the offer. And this is the most amazing thing I caught on like my second and my third time watching it. The music selection between her choosing NBW and her choosing Crenshaw was so different. Her hairstyle was different. Her clothing choices were different. Like, one was just very bougie and kind of like, I wouldn't even say like I don't even know what kind of music that was, but it just wasn't like street, okay? It was like some techno contemporary, I don't even know. Listen, I'm a butcher it if I try to. So I don't know what genre of music that is, but I know it was just very different from maybe alternative. I don't know. But it was different from the music that was playing when she chose Crenshaw to go along with Crenshaw. Another thing that was also different was her hair. Her hair became straight right when she busted through the doors of that theater. Her hair was straight, and it was straight all the way through her daydreaming with taking that offer. And I thought that was so significant, because as much as she is torn between, is she selling herself, is she selling out to the quote unquote white market versus her choosing Crenshaw and, you know, doing like basically going with her street sense and being loyal to her community and her people. Like, I thought it was just so interesting to showcase her in straight hair, right? Because hair is such a political statement at times, right? And especially with us, our lives in general can be such a political statement. Just our blackness in general can be a political statement. And just the fact that she had this relaxed hair versus her having her kinky, coily, beautiful, natural hair, I thought spoke volumes. Y'all, I don't like Crenshaw. I'm sorry, okay? I don't like Crenshaw at all. To me, Crenshaw has no integrity from the previous episodes we've seen him in. The way that he handled the issue with Issa when Issa, quote unquote, didn't have his back all the way, I didn't like that. Number one, I didn't like the way that he handled saying, okay, Issa, I'm on board with having the show, and the last minute changing every single thing and doing exactly what he said he wasn't going to do. I get that Issa may have, to you felt like Issa threw you under the bus, but you also had some level of responsibility to her because you actually accepted to do the show minus all the things that, you know, you guys cut out. So for you to just go back and do the show with all those things back in there, that to me, I'm just like, yo, you can't be trusted. If you did not want to go along, you should have been like, nah, I'm not going along. You know what? I'm going to do a different video on Crenshaw because I got too many opinions about Crenshaw, and Crenshaw ain't going to steal the thunder for this episode, okay? I don't like Crenshaw. Let's leave it right there. I don't like him. I don't think he has integrity. And so when he came back for this episode asking Issa to work with him, I just thought that they dismissed that whole the whole dynamic of, okay, you dragged me for this long, I came to you to extend an olive branch, you didn't take it, and now you come back to me with an apology, quote unquote, really just saying my bad. Like, my bad? That is not an apology adequate enough for everything that transpired between you and Issa Crenshaw. And so to me, I was just like, yo, throw him back to the streets, okay? Throw him back, okay? But obviously, Issa is contemplating if she should take this, because on the other side of her daydream, wanting to accept NBW's offer was her daydreaming what her life would be like with Crenshaw working with her again. And so you could tell, like, her hair was back in its natural form. It was flourishing. She got the key to the city, which is dope. Now, she didn't leave her apartment though. She stayed in her apartment. When she asked why they still were in that apartment, Nathan was like, listen, you on that come up budget, okay? You ain't come up yet. Like, you still struggling. You on that entrepreneurial stuff. So we can't move out yet. And as a matter of fact, you still got to go unclog somebody's toilet or whatever it is you got to go do as the apartment manager. Like, you still on the clock. Like, you got a key to the city and it is Issa Wood Day, but you still got to go handle somebody's toilet. So that's just your reality. Now, here's the thing. Ooh, okay. I want to save this for later. I'm gonna save this for later when I talk about Lawrence. So let's just drop this here for now. I just thought it was very interesting how they chose to portray the two different lifestyles with the hair change and with the music changes. I thought that was very, very interesting and quite profound as part of the storytelling. It wasn't just the acting, it was the song and the wardrobe and the hair also doing some talking on behalf of like how we move in these two spaces, i.e. corporate world, white world versus our own world and a community that we control. I thought it was very profound to see how all of that played a part in that storytelling. So Molly was trying to work with her parents and Kelly was helping her trying to set up a will for her parents. Now we know Molly's mom had a stroke and this is her second stroke. And we also know that, you know, they're aging, right? So, and she's been pushing this whole thing of like getting a will together. She's been pushing it for a while. So for them to actually have a scene where they're sitting down, creating all of that, I thought that was pretty cool. Some of these things, even though you don't want to think about it, you have to put in action because day in, day out, you're getting closer. Whether it's 15 years from now, 25 years from now, however long they have left, every day gone is every day closer. And so for her to muster up the courage to push her parents through this, and when she got back in that car, that's exactly what I expected. And if she didn't do that, I would have been shocked that she didn't break down and cry, because that is such a in your face moment of like, they're not going to be here someday. They're not. They're going to be gone someday. And just to get that taste of like, whoa, this is a reality that I can't escape and there's nothing I can do about it. Her getting in that car and crying, that was real. That was real. And so transitioning from that and Taurean calling, like the support that Taurean gave, listen, I am all for Molly and Taurean, okay? Because I feel that the two of them are alphas, but I think that Molly has matured to a point where she understands that her alphaness is not going to serve her if she really wants a long-standing relationship. Molly is masculine most of the time, and Taurean is as well. And so I think Molly has been realizing like, okay, listen, maybe I'm going a little too hard, especially with therapy and her getting to release some of her trauma, because trauma is one of those things that will get you stuck in your masculine. Listen, it will get you stuck in your masculine because you're trying to protect yourself, because feminine is the feely. Feminine energy is more feely, more in tune with yourself, more in tune with your softer side, more in tune with your intuition, more in tune with the core of your feelings. And so if you're traumatized and you're not trying to go there, mostly we mask that by going into our masculine, where we don't have to feel. It's not about feeling, it's about logic, it's about doing, it's about just action and not sitting and processing some traumatic situation that's going to get you feeling. No, keep doing. So most of the time, once a female starts processing their traumas, they kind of have more access to their feminine side. So I think with counseling, with her growing, with her seeing certain things that haven't been serving her, she's getting to tap a little bit more into her feminine, where she's starting to master the art of like, okay, I can be masculine at work, but not necessarily all masculine in a relationship. Like, she's starting to really find her balance. And I think Taurean too has learned how to tap into his feminine, because he's been through certain things. He talked about some things that he's been through as well, right? When they had that episode of them discussing Molly's mom, he's been through some hurts. He's been through some traumas, and him getting over those things have also helped him tap into his feminine. Because with Taurean tapping into his feminine energy, he's able to be a little bit more supportive to Molly when Molly is a little bit more feely, right? So that it's not just, oh, get over your feelings. We're not talking about this. I don't even understand why you're harping on your mom being sick. Just get work done. No, he's being more supportive. He's being more understanding because he's also evolved in a way where he's tapping into a little bit more of his feminine energy. So I love those two. I love them. I think they've grown enough where they can actually just like hold each other in a safe space where they each can flourish and also flourish as a couple. So yes, let's go. I love it. I love it. I love it. Issa and Nathan. Okay. Issa and Nathan. I'm not a fan. Okay. I'm not a fan of Issa and Nathan. I'm not a fan of Issa and Nathan just because I just don't think that they have that long-standing love. I just don't think that they have that. Nathan loves Issa and Issa loves Nathan, but as a friend. And see, the levels to love. There's some love that can't sustain long-term. There's some love that will feel good for a while. There's some love that once kids come in, it can't sustain the family anymore. So there are levels to love. And I'm not just talking about the Greek words of love or explanation, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how love matures and grows, right? There's certain levels of love that love can grow to that allows you to be able to sustain life and all of its ebbs and flows and highs and lows and the childbirths and the deaths and the cheating scandals. Listen, some relationships have gone through cheating scandals and it just is what it is. I can't tell someone what is best for their relationship. All I know is that if your soul is drowning in misery, that's not where you need to be. Okay, that's just all I know. But you know what? Sometimes people work through these things. I just don't see it. I don't believe in them. I don't feel it. I don't like it because I feel that Issa is not mature enough for Nathan. And not only that, I don't think Issa has enough feelings to sustain what Nathan is hoping for. Let's go back to when Nathan called back and said, I love you. Issa's face was not convincing. Issa's face was kind of like, oh, okay. It was kind of like, what do you want to eat today? I want to eat eggs. Oh, okay. He said he loves you, and you have been fighting this man to the nail for him to say, I love you. And then he finally says it, and it just sounded like it was like, oh, good morning. Like, no, this should be something that lights you up because it should light your soul up when somebody tells you they love you for the first time because it resonates with you and how much you love them. So your reaction usually is more so of how much your feelings have been validated, even than just the words that are coming out of their mouth, right? When someone says they love you and it hits you, it usually hits you with the same force that you feel for them because then you're like, oh my God, we feel the same thing, right? So there's an elation that comes with that, and she didn't have that. She didn't have it at all. So anyway, that's that. Another thing also is that she is not over Lawrence. She's not. When Issa saw Lawrence at that hospital, y'all, her soul stopped. Like, we've all been there where, or if you haven't, I have, where you're not quite over somebody, they show up or they call or you hear their voice or you see them or you see something of them or something reminds you and literally you're just like, you're stopped in your tracks. It's like you just, your heart just stops beating for a second and it's just like, whoo, like it takes your breath away in a very negative way. And that's what happened when she saw Lawrence at the hospital. She's not over him. She's not over him. She did way too much in the hospital to be over Lawrence. She kicked that poor baby. Okay, she didn't kick that poor baby, but she literally Kobe'd that poor baby, okay, into the trash can or whatever that thing was, the cart. Like, y'all, that scene was so traumatic and still so funny. Like, okay, so the trauma came first. I held my pearls because I was like, oh, did she really do that? And then probably like 45 seconds into it, I just busted out laughing. I laughed for the longest because I was just like, no, they did not. No, Insecure did not write this into their daggone show. It was so funny and so unexpected. And so foul, man. That was so foul to do that to a baby. I'm not laughing, y'all. I should not be laughing. That was foul. That was real foul to do that to the child, okay? That is child abuse, okay? That was foul. So anyway, yeah. So Issa and Nathan. Okay. Let's really break it down, right? Issa is someone who Issa loves hard. Okay, Issa loves hard, and the reason why I am sure that Issa is not done with Lawrence is because Issa did not leave Lawrence because she wanted to, right? It's not that Lawrence did something that was so terrible. Lawrence didn't cheat on her. Lawrence didn't beat her. Lawrence didn't insult her. Lawrence had a baby at a time that they weren't together. This is not a fake break. They literally were on a break. So Lawrence really didn't do anything that would make Issa say, you're not good for me. So to Issa, Lawrence is still good for her. She just doesn't see herself as becoming a stepmother. And when it gets to a point where she can't get over Lawrence, because that is where her heart is, she could come to a place of saying, you know what, I can accept this baby. Many women have done it, where they have accepted a baby, even in those situations where it's like somebody cheating. Now that's a whole different level. So with Issa, I think that's just really what it is. She just knows she doesn't want to be a stepmom. But sometimes when you come face to face with the fact that you cannot stop loving someone and that person is your person, there's nothing that person can do wrong that you can't forgive. So I feel like it's coming to that place. Now, the one thing I was going to say during the daydreams that I said I was going to hold off until later is when Issa was daydreaming and Lawrence showed up, every time Lawrence showed up, Lawrence mentioned happiness. Every time happiness came up, Lawrence showed up. And see, we got to tie it back to last season's Lowkey Happy. The fact that Lawrence was able to ask these questions, answer questions, actually have this conversation, give emotional space to Issa, and they were able to really have mature dialogue about why they broke up, why it couldn't work, and how, essentially, I don't hate you. I just wanted to know what happened. What happened? Like, just to have that conversation, that was therapy for so many of us. Literally. I don't know how many times I watched that episode, but so moving on. I tied it to that, right? Because in that episode, that's when they really reconciled. And Issa was like, you make me happy. Like, you're it. You make me happy. There's nothing in this world that makes me happy other than you, Lawrence. Okay, I'm putting words in the air, but really, that's what it is. You make me happy. And they both agreed that this is what it is. They make each other happy. And so with this episode, when happiness showing up and Lawrence showing up, to me, it was very profound. I tied it back to that episode of when they actually really reignited their relationship and really took it seriously. Like, you know what? I can forgive you for cheating on me. I can even have space for you to have this very difficult conversation that we don't want to have. And I mentioned before on a panel that, you know what, that conversation they had, that's what marriages are built on. That's what long-term marriages are built on. That's what lifetime marriages are built on. 30, 50-year marriages, that is what that is built on, that conversation. To be able to sit down and look that person that you hurt the most, look them in the eye and say, listen, this is me at my most vulnerable. This is why I did that. When you have that space to have that conversation, you don't want to. I cheated on you. I'm so sorry. It's because I X, Y, and Z. This is why I did it. I couldn't come home to you because I thought you weren't attracted to me. I couldn't come home to you. I was driving around the block not wanting to even see your face. Whoa. Those conversations, That's what marriages are built on. And it's not to say it's right, but it's to say that you're safe enough to make a mistake as a human being, come back and actually have healing conversations, not damaging conversations. And that's what we're getting wrong in these relationships. We're having damaging conversations instead of healing conversations. So it's not the action that is breaking the relationships. It's usually the conversations and the words that are coming as a result of those actions. That's what's breaking a lot of relationships. That's what's breaking a lot of relationships, because we are human and we make mistakes. And if we can have space, we can allow space for some of these conversations to happen in raw, authentic manners, minus judgment. And it may not have to happen the day after that incident, okay? Because I might be pissed. And yes, I have every right to be pissed. Maybe in those moments I'm going to cuss you out. But I will always reserve the space for us to have that hard conversation in sometime in the future. And that's what we need to start learning to do in relationships. When we talk about work, that's the work. That part is the work. Because you don't want to have those conversations. You don't want to put your hurt aside to be able to see somebody else's point of view, to listen to their point of view without judgment, without putting your hurt first, but looking at that person in a non-partial, non-judgmental way and being, very removed from what that person is saying. That's what relationships are built on. And hopefully that's what we need to start working to get back to. So for me, I always thought Lawrence was it. Lawrence is it for me. I'm not sure if Issa is ready to take Lawrence in, because Issa has a lot of work to do. Issa has a lot of work to do. She's more focused on her career right now, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Another thing that I thought was worth noting is that Nathan was always a support system. Nathan was essentially submitting to Issa. I feel like, obviously, with the scenes that they had showing the two of them going apartment hunting, they're gonna try to move in. I don't think it's gonna happen though, because even with just that one scene when Nathan was like, I don't know what kind of men you've been shacking up with, paraphrasing, Issa was kind of like looking at her. Issa was kind of like looking at him like, okay, all right, you talking about my Lawrence? Like, don't do that. So obviously they're going to look at apartments. I don't think they're going to really make it. I think Lawrence is going to somehow show up in the picture, obviously, because they're going to show up. They're going to be at the same party together. I don't know if they're going to be talking, because they don't show that. I thought it was a little misguided when Lawrence's friend was like, hey, you didn't fight for Issa. There wasn't really much to fight for. Issa's like, I don't want to be a stepmom. And I don't even know how you fight for that. Like, what are you going to do? Convince someone that it's okay to be a stepmom to my child? I wouldn't even encourage that. I feel like if someone really comes to you, especially about your child, and says, I don't want to be a stepmom, let that person go. If they come back, cool, but let them go. This is not something to negotiate. You feel you don't want to be a stepmom to my child? I don't even take it personal. I just know that it's not something to negotiate. That's just how I see it. So anyway, let me see. Oh, and Nathan's insecurity about Lawrence is a cue. I think it just comes from her and comes from a place where he's just insecure about Issa, not necessarily Lawrence. He's just insecure about Issa, but it just shows up in a way of Lawrence, because we tend to kind of project some of these feelings and not really face it, because it kind of feels foolish for you to say I'm insecure about the person that I'm with and I can't leave that person because I love them. It's a lot easier to say I'm insecure about the other person that they want to be with, because then it doesn't make you feel so quote unquote foolish. So yeah, those are my predictions for next episode. And yeah, that's my review. So until the next episode, thanks for watching, y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.